Welcome back to the Buce Plant channel, where we cover everything aquascaping and we also try and entertain and inspire you along the way. My name is Logan with Team Buce Plant, and in today's video, we've got 3 design guides for beautiful aquascapes with an emphasis on composition. Composition is how an artist arranges the different elements within a piece of work. So within an aquascape, it's how the hardscape and plants are arranged to draw attention to the eye and to take the eye on a journey. So all 3 of our tips are gonna create more beautiful compositions for you and ultimately much more eye-catching aquascapes. Before we dive into today's topic, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for lots more cool content like this. Now without further ado, let's get started. Guide number 1, the rule of thirds and golden ratio. The rule of thirds is a fantastic compositional guide that is extremely useful in almost all forms of visual arts. So with the rule of thirds, you'll use 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines equally spaced apart to divide your tank and create 9 little boxes. It's at these intersecting points of the lines that we have points of interest that really catch the viewer's eye. So you want to place all of your key elements either along the lines or at those intersecting points to create something that has visual impact. Another compositional guide you can use similar to the rule of thirds is the golden ratio. So just like the rule of thirds, you're going to divide your tank up using 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines. However, these lines are spaced differently, but once again, it's at those intersecting points that you'll find your really interesting eye-catching spots, and you can also arrange things along the lines themselves. The golden ratio creates an aspect ratio of 1 to 1.618. And here's the cool thing. All the UNS tanks are designed with the golden ratio in mind, so they're pre-built to help give you more interesting compositions, and the added depth really allows you to create something more impactful that takes the eye on a little bit more of a journey. Fortunately, on the Buce Plant website, we have all sorts of beautiful hardscape that is already eye-catching, so if you place something like, say, Wolfstone at one of these intersecting points, you'll have something that looks really visually appealing. And feel free to check out our UNS Strata and our new UNS Strata Pro for pre-built hardscape that you can just drop in with the golden ratio in mind. Guide number 2, layers. Foundational to every beautiful aquascape is the effective use of layers. And by layers, we mean foreground, midground, and background. A common beginner mistake that is very understandable, but sort of takes away from the visual impact of a layout, is to place really short carpeting plants up front and then just to have a curtain in the back of tall stemmy plants. This completely ignores the midground. Instead, you want to build up to that taller background, have slightly taller, more bushy textures in the midground, and then build up to that taller background. Additionally, like we did earlier with the front of the tank with the rule of thirds and golden ratio, you can divide the sides of your tank with those grid lines to help you distinguish your layers and plan things out accordingly. Once you define each of these layers, it's highly important that you select the appropriate plants for each different section. So we recommend carpeting plants up front like Hemianthus cuba or Macranthema Monte Carlo or Eleocharis pusilla, and then work your way to the back by implementing epiphytes like Anubias and Bucephalandra in the midground, or maybe Cryptocoryns depending on the layout. And then in the background, you can use taller stem plants that build up height like Rhotalas or Echinodorus species or Microsorums. It's really whatever you want, but using this as a basic guide will help establish scale in your aquascape and make each layer worth drawing the eye to. Guide number 3, color, contrast, and shadows. So most of the plants we keep in the aquascaping hobby are different shades of green. However, we also have red plants. Using red highlight plants like Rotala hra or Ludwigia super red at those interesting intersecting points gives the eye positions to rest on and highlights key points of the aquascape. Additionally, using textural contrast throughout the different layers of your aquascape will help distinguish all the different sections and create something that's visually appealing and looks ecologically diverse. So Using larger textures and larger leaf plants up front and then working your way to smaller textures is a really good way to help establish scale and make the elements in the back look like they're much smaller. This also goes for hardscape. Using large hardscape up front and small detailed hardscape in the back with fine textures will help give your aquascape increased depth and make things look like they're a lot bigger than they actually are, which is a really cool feature. And finally, thinking about the proportions of shadows in your aquascape to midtones and highlights helps to create something that doesn't look flat and has lots of visual appeal and contrast. One way that you can create shadows is to angle hardscape towards the front of the tank and then backlight that hardscape. Additionally, if you want to reduce the amount of shadows you have in the aquascape, you can move your light to the front of the tank to further illuminate it. The O&F Flat Nano is a great solution for manipulating shadows because the light itself swivels on its stand, so you can very easily rotate it from the back to the front. When you're first starting out and you're new to aquascaping, it's a great idea to follow these guides and use them very strictly. But as you get more advanced, these rules can be broken creatively to create things that sort of break the mold and are extra interesting. And be sure to let us know down below in the comments if you have any additional compositional tips for your fellow aquascapers. So we hope this guide helps you. If you like this type of content and you find it helpful, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and head on over to buceplant.com to get started with everything you need for your first high-impact aquascape. This has been Logan with Team Buce Plant. Now get out there and create something beautiful.